Hello friends, welcome to another session of Prostho Hub. Myself, Dr. Jolsna. So today we are going to start off with a new topic, that is recent advances in implant prosthodontics, and this topic was suggested to us by Dr. Pavya Bhaskar. Thanks Pavya for your constant support, your feedback, and for suggesting this topic. So let's get into the content. As usual, it starts with introduction, the advances in diagnostic imaging in implantology, the advances in the implant design that consist of micro as well as macro geometry, advances in the surface modification, the implant abutments, implant abutment junction, the software that simplifies the treatment planning, new concepts in implantology and advances in the commercial implant system, and finally conclusion and references. So before getting into detail, I request everyone to please do like and share my videos if you're finding them useful. If you have any suggestions or queries or any topic that needs to be discussed, you can comment below this video or directly mail me at this mail ID. So without much delay, let's get into the topic. So the use of dental implants to rehabilitate the loss of teeth has increased to a much greater extent over the past few years, and the main agenda for using dental implants for rehabilitation is their high success rate as well as predictability of the procedure. And as we know, the father of modern dental implantology is Dr. Per Ingvar Brånemark, and he introduced the first titanium implant in the year 1963. And afterwards, many changes have followed in the field of implantology, and all these advances have resulted in successful patient outcomes along with greater clinical efficiencies. So let us see one by one the advances in each section. First, the advances in diagnostic imaging. We know that the success of an implant placement relies on proper imaging, and among the latest technologies in dental imaging is cone beam computer tomography, commonly said as CBCT, that uses 3D images from different planes like axial, coronal, and sagittal views. So basically, this uses a conical beam and provides a stream of data that helps the surgeon to reconstruct the image in any direction using specialized software while exposing patient to a much less amount of radiation. So what is the difference between CBCT and CT is that CBCT gives all the information like that of CT, that's same as that of CT, but at a radiation that is only 1/8 the radiation dose that is used for CT and at a very much lower cost. Now, let us see the classification of CBCT based on the size of their field of view. So it's categorized into large, medium, and small field of view. So the large field of view, that is using a field of view of 15 to 23 centimeter, which is commonly used for maxillofacial trauma, the orthodontic use, and various TMJ diseases, whereas the medium field of view, that is 10 to 15 centimeter, which is used for mandibulomaxillary imaging, pre-implant planning, and to know the pathology. And then comes the small field of view, that is less than 10 centimeter, specifically used for endodontic applications. Coming to recent advances in CBCT, so first one is microtomograph, which is useful in taking serial sections of bone implant interface. Then comes the multi-slice helical CT, which offers higher accuracy of images when compared to CT. This is because the multi-slice helical CT takes continuous pictures of the body in a rapid spiral motion so that there are no gaps in the pictures that is collected. So this gives greater accuracy than that of CT, and it is commonly referred to as DentaScan imaging. And the next one is interactive computer tomography. So this technique enables a radiologist to transfer the imaging study to the clinician as a computer file, and it enables the clinician to view and interact on their own computer. So basically here the clinician's computer becomes a diagnostic radiologic workstation with tools. Another characteristic feature of ICT is that the radiologist as well as the clinician can perform electronic surgery, that is by selecting and placing arbitrary size cylinders that simulates the root form implants, and they can perform the electronic surgery as you can see in the picture. So this is interactive computer tomography. So we have discussed three advances of CBCT, that is a microtomography, multi-slice helical CT, and the interactive computer tomography. Next is the advances in implant design. So here we shall be discussing the advances under implant macro geometry and implant micro geometry. and I'll be mentioning the main contents under macrogeometry. If you want to know in detail about the endosseous implant design and the surface characterization, which is very important part of the implantology topic, do comment below this video. So the first part that come under macrogeometry is crestal module. So this is the portion of the implant that engages the crest of the bone. So as you can see in the picture, this is the crestal module, and this crestal module can be described under the following features, that is the collar design. As you can see in the picture, the collar design can be of three types. First one is the straight or the parallel sided, the divergent or the flared one, the convergent or the tapered one. So that is a collar design, and based on shape it can be again a straight design or scallop design. The surface can be smooth or rough, and the presence of threads, that are the small grooves that is present on the crestal module, in order to enhance the surface area of the bone implant interface near the crest. So these grooves can be of a horizontal pattern, or it can be a parabolic or scalloped pattern. Then comes the implant abutment connection or junction, which is mainly of two types: external abutment connection as well as internal abutment connection, which is again further subclassified into many types. Next comes the body of the implant. So this is the part between the crestal module and the apex of the dental implant. So this is the body that is between the crestal module and the apex of the implant. So this body of the implant can also be described under the taper as well as the thread design and other special features. So what is taper? It is a parallelism between the walls of the implant, and based on taper it can be of three types, that is cylindrical implant, root form implant and bio implant. And thread design, it can be of two types, threaded implants and non-threaded implants, and it is described under various features like the shape of the thread pitch, depth and width of the thread, the phase angle, the flank angle, the thread lead, etc. And the final part is the implant apex, which can be self-cutting as well as non-cutting apex. So basically three parts under macro design, that is the crestal module, the body of the implant and apex of the implant. So if you want to know in detail about these parts, do comment below this video. Now let's see the advances in implant design. The first one, that is a mini dental implants, also called as small diameter implants or narrow diameter implants. As the name suggests, these are available in diameter that is less than 3 mm and also under various length, that is 10, 13, 15 and 18 millimeters. Now what is the difference between mini implants and conventional implant is that conventional implant or traditional implant is available in two parts, that is abutment as well as the implant, whereas this one is a single piece titanium screw that consists of either a ball head that is used to retain removable or fixed dentures, or it can be a square type head for fixed prosthesis. Now what is the use of mini implant? So this is basically considered for retaining overdenture prosthesis as an alternative treatment when standard implant placement is not possible, like in case of reduced or insufficient buccolingual width of the remaining alveolar ridge. And it can also be considered for rehabilitation of patient who has dissatisfaction with conventional dentures and have got limitation regarding placement of standard implants. And this is also widely used for orthodontic anchorage. And for placing this, only a single pilot drill is enough to create the opening, and this implant can be threaded into the bone, and after placement, as you can see here, the ball part will be projecting outwards over the gum, which is used for retaining the prosthesis. And this one is usually delivered within 2 weeks of surgery. So these are mini dental implants. Coming to advantages, so mini dental implants can be used for immediate loading. It can be inserted in minimal tissue, so there is no need for extra grafting techniques or ridge augmentation procedures, and this is usually a minimally invasive procedure. It can be used for a one-stage denture stabilization. It does not require any osteotomy, only a single pilot drill is enough, and this is a cost-effective technique. And usually these mini implants are placed by a simple technique, that is especially in patients with a narrow ridge, that is too narrow for conventional implants. So these are the advantages of mini implants. Next one is the transitional implants. So these are narrow diameter implants which are used to support provisional fixed restorations during the phase of osseointegration of the definitive implants, and these transitional implants are placed simultaneously with the definitive implants. So as you can see in the picture, the definitive implants are placed, along with that the transitional implants are also placed. So this will support the provisional fixed restoration during the phase of osseointegration of these definitive implants, and this will enhance the osseointegration procedure. So the diameter of transitional implant ranges from 1.8 to 2.8 millimeter. The length can be of 7 mm to 14 mm, and this is also fabricated with pure titanium in a single body with treated surface. Now the primary function of transitional implant is to absorb the masticatory stress during the healing phase in order to promote the osseointegration of the definitive implants. Now they are placed in a non-submerged fashion, and that is in a single stage surgical procedure. Usually a twist drill of 1.5 to 2 mm is only enough for placing transitional implants, and these are designed for immediate loading also. Now at the end of this provisional phase, they will be removed with manual tools, and then the definitive implants are restored according to the main treatment plan. So these are placed at least 1.5 millimeter from the adjacent teeth and about 1.5 to 2 millimeter from a definitive implant. So these are transitional implants, that is mainly to absorb the masticatory stress so that it won't transfer the load onto the definitive implant that are in the phase of osseointegration. Coming to advantages of transitional implant. So the main advantage is provisionalization, and then it causes an undisturbed healing of the bone graft, and it's an effective way to generate aesthetic transitional appliances, and also it helps us to evaluate phonetics and function during the healing phase only, and it is cost effective. Now next one is one piece implant. So here the implant is machined from a piece of titanium that incorporates both the implant body and an integral fixed abutment in a single component. So the earlier two ones were also one piece implant, but the difference here is all other features are similar to our traditional implant. Even the placement is also similar to traditional implant, but the difference is that this is just one piece implant. So as you can see in the picture, it consists of an abutment portion that mimics the tooth crown and aids in tooth replacement. So after placement, this part will be projecting outside, that is exposed in the mouth. Then comes the connection. So there is no separation here since this is a single piece, and then comes the implant portion that mimics the tooth root. So this is one piece implant. Now what is the advantage of one piece implant? So studies have showed that the gingival margin as well as the biologic width dimensions are more similar to natural teeth around a one piece implant compared to that of a two piece implant. So the gingival margin and biologic width is similar to that of natural teeth. Finally, short dental implants. So this is a dental implant with a length that is 7 millimeter or less. So this is used as an alternative to complex expensive bone augmentation procedures. So especially in cases where the height of the bone is compromised, you can go for a short dental implant. Let us see the advantages. So here bone grafting is not necessary, and less money, pain and time prior to restoration of the implant. This is also a simplified bone surgery, and implant insertion is also easier. But the long-term success of short dental implant is conflicting. Some studies say that the failure rate of short implants are high when compared to that of the traditional implant, whereas some recent studies says that the success rate of a 5 millimeter dental implant was about 80 to 100% for over a 1 to 8 year of evaluation. So the long-term success is just conflicting. Coming up is the advances in implant design under microgeometry that consist of mainly the various surface characterizations of the implant design, and this we shall be discussing in our coming session. So thank you all for watching my video. Please do like and share my videos if you are finding them useful. If you are watching this channel for the first time, please do subscribe and support. And if you have any queries, suggestions or topic that needs to be discussed, do mail me at this mail ID or you can comment below this video. Thank you all and we'll meet in our next session.